All right, this was my second solo cross-country trip, and the final trip I needed to complete my solo flight requirements for my private pilot certificate. Still have other requirements to go, but the solo flight requirements have been met now. Today we went from Flying Cloud Airport to Albert Lea Municipal Airport to Rochester and then back to Flying Cloud. It was the longest trip I've done so far, 2.9 hours total logged, and overall really good trip. There was some cloud cover, but it was about 10,000 feet up, so no big deal. The weather was pretty solid. And here I'm just inputting the frequencies for the CTAF and the AWOS, Automated Weather Observation System, at Albert Lea Airport to get that ready to go. Also on ForeFlight, double checking the pattern altitude and just some final details. And then coming into pre-landing, doing my pre-landing checklist for Albert Lea. But as I'm flying to each airport, usually around like 30-ish miles away, depending on how far away it is, I'm trying to get all those things completed, frequencies plugged in for the weather, for the CTAF or for the tower, and making sure I have everything noted properly for elevation, winds, weather, the runways in use, all that. This is a non-towered airport. It was completely dead, so I had the whole airport to myself. But the CTAF was shared with Mason City, Iowa. So there was actually a lot of people on the radio, but nobody that was at Albert Lea in particular. Winds were slightly from the south. It was pretty calm, but all my takeoffs and landings were on runways facing somewhat south to go into the winds. I also got to fly over my brother and sister-in-law's house in Albert Lea, so that was kind of fun. And I took a little bit of a detour to check out Fountain Lake in Albert Lea, which is where my wife grew up. Pretty cool windmill farm I flew by on my way to Rochester. And here is the landing into Rochester Airport. And it was very busy around the airport, like I said. So I was vectored, I think 3 different times by flight following and Rochester approach to change my heading and or change my altitude to steer clear of other traffic in the area. So that was actually pretty fun and something a little bit different. Last time I was at Rochester, it was completely dead, so it was nice to get a little more action. And here I am doing my pre-takeoff checklist, obviously, and then I had on on ForeFlight just a second ago, pulling up my flight plan for the flight home back to Flying Cloud. And again, just making sure everything looks good still, the weather looks good, double checking I have all the frequencies, pattern altitude, etc. ready to go. Once I got airborne, Rochester Tower sent me over to Rochester departure for flight service pretty quickly. And we're back home. Good old 28 right. The runway that I've landed on probably 110 times now. And that was a great landing. I was very happy with that landing. Good to come back and actually nail a landing. And it was extremely busy. I think the busiest I've ever seen it at Flying Cloud Airport. Rochester and Flying Cloud are Class D Delta airspaces. But it was super fun just coming in both to Rochester and to Flying Cloud with so much action, so much traffic, and having to communicate quickly with Tower. But that was about it. Got the plane parked, pushed it back. And coming up, I'm going to be doing a night flight and then kind of wrapping up things, preparing for my Czech ride, hopefully in the next month.